Can you make it another week? Can you make it one more week until the NFL's annual selection meeting, the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay? Well, tough. You're going to have to wait another week. Welcome to Thinking Out Loud, the week before the draft. Can it please just get here already edition of this, your favorite podcast or YouTube video, whatever it is, however you watch or listen or enjoy or yell at or mock, whatever it is to you. We thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, share, comment upon all those things on the YouTubes or the Spotifys or the Apples, wherever it is you're going, or the Yahoos, as my dad would call his email server. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew Siciliano. Coming up, a new revolutionary way to do a mock draft. And you may mock our mock. Matter of fact, we welcome you mocking our mock. The only reason to listen to or look at a mock draft is to mock it. Any mock draft done more than 12 hours before the actual draft deserves to be mocked. So we will do a 10-minute mock. You've heard of the, 6-minute egg, whatever the hell that is. We're going to put a time limit on it. We're going to do a mock draft, 32 picks in 10 minutes. We're going to get a stopwatch out. We're going to go fast. It may just suck. And it may be all wrong. As a matter of fact, I hope it is. But coming up shortly, a 10-minute mock. Sam Betesh, I don't know if we're going to do it now, but just big picture, because we're not doing it now. We still have other things to talk about. Are you ready for the 10-minute mock?
There's nothing that says I'm ready for a 10-minute mock like these glasses right now. The world has not seen me in reading glasses, and I am officially in them to prepare. The amount that I have prepared for the mock here, the amount of things. I thank you to Bucky Brooks in advance, Ryan Wilson. These are people that I believe in when it comes to mock drafts.
You've stolen their work?
I've essentially stolen and then put their work in a blender to come up with what I will consider the picks for these teams. And it is impossible. And by the way, you shot down my idea of the smock draft where we were going to wear bibs or aprons.
I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, because then I have to yell, yes, chef. I'm not doing that.
Okay. Yeah. The smock draft.
I'm not a Montessori school either. I am not doing that. You said you haven't seen me. You haven't seen these glasses. You're right. I haven't seen your mother's glasses in a while. Have you? Does Marlette know you took her glasses?
Do you like the clear? There was also this version. I could have gone the blue to match here today.
Does your mother know you've stolen 2 pair of her glasses?
It's very clear. These are, in fact, if you go to Amazon and select readers, there was actually a male and female version of about 5 that they give you, and I went with the female hues. Yes. So I did. I thought they were more interesting, but yeah, it's embarrassing, but I think it works for the mock. There's nothing that says we're doing something different today than Sam in reading glasses. So there you go. I'm ready for the mock and the smock, and we'll be excited for it. I cannot wait.
We can mock his glasses.
Yes, please.
Whenever anybody wants. All right, we'll get to that coming up in a second. In all seriousness, a week away from the draft, we all want it to get here. We all know who is going to the draft. They announced the names a couple of days ago. The only real surprise there was Jalen Milroe. I don't know that he goes in the first round. Spoke to a dear friend of the program, Daniel Jeremiah, yesterday for my podcast on the Cleveland Browns platforms. Best podcast available. And he, too, says he'd be surprised if Jalen Milroe goes in the first round, but he's going to be a good NFL player. One would hope, fingers crossed, he's a lottery ticket. You either bam, hit it big, or you know what, like rip the ticket up and throw it away. Not throw the person away, but the ticket away. And you're like, you know what? I'm bad at math. I knew that I had no shot of winning, but I spent $2 on this ticket. I tried. I digress. Let's get to the headlines here. And really, before the draft, it's a lot of subterfuge and lying. It's a bunch of lying liars who lie on the podium, and maybe lying is too strong. They're a bit dishonest, but they have no reason to be fully transparent. Why tell you who we're going to pick? No one is going to do that. I'll take it a step further. Why even say whether or not you're going to pick up a player's 5th-year option like Dan Morgan this week? I don't know. We're going to pick up Ike Ekwonu's 5th-year option, 2022 first-round pick. You have to know by May 1. It's intentionally after the draft. Well, they're picking 8th. 1 pick ahead of the Saints. Now, they're not taking a quarterback, But why pick up a fifth-year option and take left tackle out of the equation? Let people think you might take a tackle. You get my point. I digress. Let's just get to the sleight of hand and the misinformation, and let's focus squarely here on Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. It was announced this week that both he and Travis Hunter will have their numbers retired by Colorado. Congratulations to both young men. Well deserved. Even only 2 years there. It is quite an honor. Congratulations to them both. It was also reported this week. Shocking headline. Giants to conduct private workout with Shedeur Sanders in Boulder, Colorado on Thursday, 1 week before the draft. Joe Schoen, Giants GM, revealed Wednesday, that John Mara would not attend. The owner would not attend the workout. That was a direct question in Shane's pre-draft presser. The thought being, well, it's good to know, but the other part of it is a lot of the talking heads want to tell you they would only take Shedeur Sanders if the owner were to step in and force the Colorado quarterback on the Giants. I don't know where Shedeur Sanders is going to go. I know a couple of things. He was a very good college quarterback. I think he's going to be a decent, if not good, NFL quarterback. He's going to win some games. I also think, and I've never met him, but that he's a good kid. Everyone that I know that knows him says he is a good kid. I have never, in the last couple of drafts, so we'll make it a short sample size, seen a player upon which the conversation has turned this, do I say toxic? It's an uncomfortable conversation. Because the headline is he going to drop? Is he going to drop? I don't know. Is he the second best player in the draft, assuming Cam Ward goes number 1? I don't think anyone has ever told you he was the second best player in the draft. I don't think anyone has ever said that. He was a very good college quarterback about whom there are many legitimate NFL questions about his success at the next level. And we are all to blame with the headlines. He's gonna drop. And we're all to blame with the social media comments on any story that I post or anyone else posts online about Shedeur Sanders. Get away from the kid. I don't want him. Anyone who drafts him is going to get fired within a year. What a bust. This, that. And I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. He's a good quarterback and a good kid. Why all the toxicity around this? The Sanders camp, Shedeur will tell you, well, if you don't like me, you're just a hater. Turn on the tape. I don't necessarily like that pushback from anybody. I think, I'm not calling him immature. I've used this to describe many other people's comments. It's kind of an immature way of looking at the world, that if you don't approve of something about me, therefore you're a hater. But it's not about Shedeur. It's just a young person way of looking at the world. You're either with me or against me. And if you don't like me, you must hate me because your dislike of me is somehow unreasonable. And that isn't fair either. That is an irrational way to look at the world. But when you look at the comments underneath any piece of Shedeur Sanders related content, it blows me away, the negativity. And a lot of it is a pushback against the hype, much like there's a pushback against Yankees hype or against Duke hype or against anyone who's leading SportsCenter and leading all the screaming head shows all of the time. Who's to blame? We're to blame. Big Noon Kickoff, College Game Day, any other college TV platform that with good reason took the road show to Colorado. It was quite a show. He's a heck of a quarterback at the college level. I was there for it as well. It was fun, and everybody would do it the same way if they had to do it over again. But there is a natural pushback. It's just the way our brains are wired, not mine necessarily, but I get the sporting fan public against the hype. It's just the way it is. So when people say, oh, he's falling in the draft because people don't like him, that isn't true. The draft is not done on January 5th or January 15th, whatever it was this year after the college football playoff, on stats alone and on where your highlights were in SportsCenter alone. That's not how it's done. It is not just a 4-month process. It is a years-long process of data points and interviews and workouts and film study and visits and dinners. And if Shedeur Sanders goes 2 or 3 or 6 or 7 or 9 or 21, wherever he goes, it's going to be okay. And it's not because people are haters. It's because the process played out. And this is where the league and the teams drafting decided he should go. And you know what? I hope he has a good NFL career, and I'm confident he will wherever he goes. But Sam, if you stack the players in the draft, nobody thinks, no reasonable evaluator that I have spoken to thinks that he is a top 5 talent in this draft. And that's not hating. That's just evaluation. If he's in the top 32, and I believe he is, and I believe he'll go in the first round, can't we just be okay with that?
He will also be heavily scrutinized as anybody's first round draft pick at that position.
Of course.
Let's just say that. Every quarterback, it is the most scrutinized position. And so no matter what, where he goes, it's not as if he goes to the Steelers at 21, we don't think the Steelers are going to make an opinion about what their first round quarterback does. That's going, and again, he won't have gone 1, 2, or 5. He will have gone 21, but it will be remembered as the Steelers number 1. And that's how he will be remembered. And the best part about this process is in 10 years, we'll look back and have a real answer. In 10 years.
We'll know in 3.
But then again, look at what do we think about Sam Darnold right now? And in 3 years, what did we think we knew about Carson Wentz? Right? I mean,
that's entirely fair. Darnold, it's been 6.
Okay, so Darnold it's in 6, and the conversation about Goff versus Wentz after 3 years was Wentz is going to be a Hall of Famer, and Goff was the wrong pick, and obviously now that looks entirely different. So it's pretty interesting the way the world works. So in 10 years, we'll know for sure. One thing you didn't bring up, and I just find as the most interesting piece of this, the hate could be about the conversation and the hype. It very well could be. And I understand there's sort of a working man, working woman perspective on this, that I'm tired of hearing about this person, and therefore there is too much sort of positive momentum on this person, hype, if you will. What about this? Could it simply be his father? Not to say people don't or do like Deion Sanders, but just the idea that his dad is such a figure, and he is an outspoken figure in this. That's number one. So just, we know a lot about his dad. His dad has a nickname. His dad played with a bravado, has a bravado as a coach, has his own sunglass line. Could that, so answer that for me first, and then I have another on that.
2 things. It affects public perception, yes, to answer your question, and the toxicity. It's not going to affect where he gets drafted. Now, is there a possibility that there's a team who needs a quarterback who the coach and the GM think that they're on thin ice, and wow, if I draft this kid and it doesn't work well, then the public's going to think I need to be fired? I mean, sure, I get that. But at the same time, you know what? If you think he's going to get you more wins and you think it's going to save your job, then take the kid because you think he's a good quarterback. Anyone drafting for fear of their own butt isn't doing your team any favors.
And number 2, on the Deion Sanders front, is it a service or a disservice that he was coached by his father? So sort of the pedigree, does that put him in a position where he has been pampered, or did that put him under heavy scrutiny by someone who knows the difference between being a professional and not being a professional?
I would say the latter. I truly would. I would say that being around pros, being around a Hall of Famer, that's a positive. It is not a negative. It truly isn't. I look at the football player, and I talk to people that were there at Colorado who didn't see a lot to allay their fears about his arm strength after Colorado Pro Day. You saw him throwing his whole body into that deep ball. Now, granted, he throws a very good deep ball. I mean, a la Jeff Blake, okay, a la Russell Wilson. It looked good. And that is his superpower, is throwing that deep ball. But he's throwing that whole body into it to get it there. You don't see a lot of throws that he rips in the seam. You just don't see the RPMs on the football. And for everyone who says, and Shedeur says this, that the way he sees the field, the thinking man aspect of his game, which is by far the most important thing that I need for a quarterback. He thinks that's an elite trait. I've talked to plenty of evaluators that say they don't think it's an elite trait. They think it's good, but it isn't elite. Is he ahead of some other young quarterbacks? Yeah. But is it elite? No, it's not. And does he have the arm strength to make NFL throws if he's not perfect and on time? That is a legitimate question. And while that offensive line is awful and he was able to run around and he is tough as nails, like, give him that. He is as tough as it gets. He also had 26% of his throws within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. It's a lot of dinking and dunking, and that's a reason why that completion percentage is that high. And when that offensive line broke down, he got away from a lot of sacks, but he doesn't have amazing athletic ability. He doesn't have that get out of jail free athletic ability that some of these younger players have. Not like Jalen Milroe, right? There's no comparison. Jalen Milroe's, a gold medal Olympian, and Shedeur is not qualifying for the Olympics when it comes to just overall athleticism. I'm just talking about the running aspect of his game. You get my point. So I think he helped. I think having Deion absolutely helped. You also have to ask the question, if his name was Todd Smith, is he the second pick in the draft? Or is there an argument about him being the second pick in the draft?
First of all, I think the fact that he represents duality at that position, considering what we've seen out of quarterbacks, I mean, the idea that he does have escapability to him, right? I mean, the idea.
Not a lot. I disagree.
You really do? You really think?
I don't think he has good escapability.
Okay.
I don't think he has the ability to consistently get away from an NFL rush.
I think NFL. Okay, you're right.
And by the way, that is me. That's me talking to a lot of evaluators.
Okay. So there you go. So that would break it down a rung, and then in that case, your question probably rings true. The idea that he is Sanders makes a difference here. Also, what Colorado was and has been hype wise. I mean, sure. Those are a lot of games that people watched, people that matter watched, evaluators watched, etc. So I think that I agree with you in regards to what Prime and what Deion does. You and I both been around Deion Sanders. He demands you to be at a certain level. Being around Deion,
absolutely,
right? I mean, and we're not his son, obviously, but Deion Sanders demands something from you when he's in the room. It does not feel laid back. Deion Sanders immediately sort of elevates the room to sort of snap into position. So I imagine being his son, there's something to showing up every day and being at a particular level. So I agree with you that definitely this has helped Shedeur Sanders in what he is going to become at the next level. It also helps a lot that at this point we can wipe out the fact that he's going to be number one. He's not going to be the first quarterback.
He's not going to be number one.
And that helps no matter what, because forever he can be compared to Cam Ward in a way. And that means that it won't have the scrutiny of what we've seen from other number ones overall. That's going to help. But again, we'll have 10 years to look back on this and think, did it work? Was it the guy the way it needed to be the guy? And again, the position demands that, but I think the Prime and the Sanders piece of it will help him moving forward.
I just want people to pump the brakes on the toxicity. Let the kid be. Really? Just let him be. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't know that I would trade up. I don't know that I would necessarily take him at the top of the draft. He's going to be okay. Just pump the brakes. I mean, it's clickbait. I'm not doing beach walk and talks for Shedeur Sanders every day just because I want the views. I mean, it is a fascinating part of this draft.
Truly. One thing about toxicity, the quarterback that deserved scrutiny in recent memory, Eli Manning, having the opinion from his family that he was not going to play for a particular team, there's something in that. You're right. So recent memory actually is between you and I, but there's something to that is now putting an opinion out there that I think demands a reaction. because you're essentially telling one of 32 professional franchises they're not good enough for you. That demands a certain opinion. Shedeur's nowhere near that. He's just not, right? There's been none of that. There's no I won't play for you because of who my father is, etc.
But there was all of that out there in the ether over the last few months, none of it substantiated, right? So the talking heads and the TikToks and the Twitters and the Instagrams would always go, "Oh, I hear Shedeur doesn't want to go." And that hasn't been said to my knowledge.
No.
And so people just imagine it was, linked with the Raiders. And maybe Deion kind of said that with the Raiders. Whatever, just let it be. Let the kid be. Wherever he goes, he goes. And back to the press conference thing, Joe Shane said on Wednesday, yes, we have had calls of, teams wanting to move up to 3. Okay, sure. Dan Morgan said, yeah, phone hasn't rang much at 8, but, we do expect it to ring because they're right ahead of the Saints. And now with the Derek Carr reported injury, his season may be in jeopardy. Where'd that come from? Maybe teams need to get to jump over the Saints because they want to get ahead of the Saints to get the quarterback. Whoever the quarterback is, Jackson Dart could go before Shedeur Sanders, guys. People really do like Jackson Dart. Just wrap your mind around that. When Nick Caserio says we never draft for need, I believe him because that's how he plays his board. However, coming up in our 10-minute mock, I'm going to draft for need for Nick Caserio, just so you know. Teams generally, the GMs go up there. They make an effort. They don't want to tell you the truth. Period. Okay. They try to be as evasive as humanly possible. My favorite line this week is Eric DeCosta, the GM of the Ravens, not when he wouldn't fully commit to Mark Andrews being there in 2025, but when asked about drafting a corner, he said, I know we're going to draft a corner, maybe not in the first round, but we're going to draft a corner because corners are like Bugattis. They always break down. So there's a Bugatti partnership coming up, undoubtedly, for Eric DeCosta. All right, Sam, we have 20 minutes to do this mock.
Oh, wow.
No, 10-minute mock.
Right? We're trying 10?
Mock. My fault. 10-minute mock. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. My apologies. So here's how we're going to do a 10-minute mock. I know you're looking at us going, how the hell can you get to do 10 minutes? So we're going to make it 20 seconds per pick. So that's 30 picks. Okay? But we're going to take the first 2 picks off the board. So right now, our mock is going to be, can we agree on this? Cam Ward, number 1, okay? And then we're going to go Travis Hunter, number 2.
Although, let me see, we've seen mocks. We have seen mocks and smock drafts that don't have it as that. There are people that like to be bold, but I like it. Let's just take them off.
Okay, that's what we're going to do. So Travis Hunter 1, Cam Ward 1, Travis Hunter 2, and then who's picking 3? Am I picking 3? So that means
3. That's you with the Giants at 3. All right, okay. And we haven't started the clock officially yet. We will, if we want. When you're ever ready to be on the clock there with the Giants, that's fantastic. Okay. And
we're not going to have a clock on the screen, but I'm going to be doing one here.
Okay.
All right. We're going to do a 10-minute. I'm going to do another timer on my phone so that we actually have 10 minutes. I'm going to do here. Set alarm. Do I have an Alexa in here? I don't.
Do you? Yeah. Is it going to? So this won't give us a buzz for each pick, but it'll give us a buzz when the Eagles are supposed to be finished at 32.
That's fine. No, I got one here too.
Okay, that's what I mean. That you're going to do it. It will make a sound when the Eagles are supposed to be finished, and if we're nowhere near, that's our fault.
Okay, here we go. You ready? 10-minute mock starts now. With the 3rd overall pick, the New York Giants, we're starting off well, select Abdul Carter, edge, Penn State.
Okay, that's okay. Let's get ahead then. Now that means at 4, the Patriots can take what they consider the number 1 offensive tackle, and we're going to go out of LSU. We're going to go with Will Campbell here.
Okay, you go Will Campbell at 4.
Yes.
At 5, I'm going to mix things up. This is not groupthink. The Jacksonville Jaguars select running back Ashton Jeanty.
Wow.
At 5. Ashton Jeanty at 5.
Okay, so you've really thrown things because I wanted to say Ashton Jeanty today, and of course the Raiders were considered that. But let's then take for the Raiders the number 1 wide receiver. Let's go with Tate McMillan out of Arizona, the wide receiver.
All right. McMillan And you did Campbell. Okay. That means I'm up with the New York Jets. The New York Jets with the 7th overall pick are taking Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State.
And a lot of people would have had the Raiders potentially doing that. All right. So that means we go to the Panthers here.
Yes, that's you.
Panthers at 8. And we've still got on the board. Let's go Jalen Walker, edge out of Georgia.
You're going Jalen Walker at 8. I love it. Okay. 10-minute mock continuing. All right, I'm going to do it. The Derek Carr injury, I think, might have been leaked by Derek Carr.
Oh, yes.
But I am going to go with a 9th overall pick. The New Orleans Saints select Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado at 9. Saint Shedeur to New Orleans at 9.
All right. Many consider him actually the top tackle that the Patriots did not take. But for now that you took Tyler Warren for the Bears, let's go with that tackle. Let's go with Armand Membu out of Missouri.
I took Tyler Warren for the Jets.
I know you did. Yep.
You're going to take Membu?
I'm taking Membu.
Okay, you're taking Membu at 10. All right, the 10-minute mock continues. The Niners are on the clock. I am going to go for the Niners. I am going to go Mason Graham. They're stunned that Mason Graham has fallen to 11. Mason Graham to the 49ers. No one thought he'd get out of the top 5. He's going to the Niners. You are now on the clock, the 12th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys.
I think this is something they will do. I'm seeing wide receiver as a need. I think this is a mistake for the Cowboys, but they're actually going to stick with it. Matthew Golden out of Texas. All right, keeping it there with the star.
I love it. And you know what? I'll take it a step further. Tyreek Hill is traded on draft day.
Wow.
Okay, so you're going to go wide receiver, and you're going to go Matthew Golden to the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
Okay, I am now going to go... Oh, boy, where do I go here for the Dolphins?
And you're saying Tyreek Hill's not there, right? You're going to go with that?
Yeah, I am going to go. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart.
Okay.
Makes no sense. That. I didn't see that coming.
Okay. Edge. Big one. All right. So the Colts now. The Colts have a lot of needs. And by the way, if you hadn't taken Shedeur, I was going to shock everybody and have the Colts pull an Arizona Cardinals and take Shedeur to be there with Anthony Richardson.
No way in a million years that happens.
Okay. So because of that, why don't we protect Anthony Richardson? He needs a lot of help. We could go tight end, could take another tight end but we're going to go with a tackle. Calvin Banks out of Texas.
You're going to go Banks. All right. Most people see him as a guard. You're taking him at tackle. Okay. Banks. Next up, we have on the clock the Atlanta Falcons. We're going defense with the Falcons, and we are going to go Jalen Walker's gone. Shamar Stewart's gone. We're going to go Mike Green.
Okay. That's an exciting one. I like that. Okay, so now we've got the Cardinals are on the clock. Cardinals is interesting. I still think they want to protect here. They want to protect, but you know what? They're going to take here for player instead of need. James Pierce, edge out of Tennessee.
We got the run on pass rushers. James Pierce, by the way, might be as good a pass rusher, not named Abdul Carter as there is, but there are some legit character concerns there. So we go back-to-back edge with some character concerns there at 15 and 16. The Bengals now. What do the Bengals do? Mike Brown only takes players he saw at 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. He needs a defensive player. He's going to take Jahad Campbell there. Bengals take Jahad Campbell. Okay.
Very exciting. The Bengals need a lot. The Bengals need a lot because they've got some star players that did some things but missed the playoffs despite
you got the Seahawks here, buddy.
You're 18 sorry, not Bengals, right? Of course, Seahawks here. The Seahawks need offensive line help. The Seahawks clearly need offensive line help, especially for Sam Darnold. Let's go with
5 seconds.
Okay.
3 seconds.
You know what? We're actually going defense. Donovan Eziraku from BC.
Donovan Eziraku. Okay, you're going to go Eziraku at 18. I'm going to go Jody Barron at 19. The Buccaneers take corner. You're on the clock, 20 for the Broncos.
All right, Broncos, let's go. And you said there was going to be a run on running backs. And so I know you like this kid, Omarion Hampton, North Carolina, running back.
Love
Broncos.
it. That's a great pick. You're going Omarion Hampton to the Broncos. Love it. I think he could go to the Bears as well. All right, I'm up 21 for the Steelers. I'm going to go Jackson Dart. I wanted to be there for the Browns at 33, but I'm going to go Jackson Dart at 21 for the Steelers. You got the Chargers at 22.
Let's go. I think tight end's important for this team. I think that's just a question that has to be answered here. And this is Colston Loveland from Michigan.
Yep, it's a no-brainer here because Harbaugh, Colston Loveland. Okay, I'm up with the Packers here at 23. Am I going to do this?
Oh, wow. Do it.
Am I going to do this? At 23. I'm going to take Emeka Egbuka to the Packers.
Ooh.
Egbuka to the Packers. You're up the Vikings at 24. 20 seconds, go.
Vikings need a cornerback. We have two that I love, Jade Barron and Will
He's already
Johnson.
gone. Barron's
he
gone.
is. So let's go Will Johnson, Michigan, cornerback.
You're going to go Will Johnson. Okay. That puts me at 25.
Texans. Wow.
Texans, and I'm going to go Josh Simmons. No. Yes, I'm going to go Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons. Ohio State, offensive lineman. You're up with the Rams at 26.
Okay. By the way, is Mikael Williams in Georgia still available?
Yes.
On the edge?
Yes.
Based on what we saw, again, I just think this is player. This is not need. This is player available. All right. This is a stud, and the Rams.
Take a Mikael Williams.
Yep. Done that for the Rams. They did so much on the defensive line, and this gives them incredible depth there. I considered, by the way, a quarterback, but you took who I wanted.
Okay. All right. You hit it at 20 seconds. All right. I'm up next, and we have, what do we got? The Ravens?
Yes, the Ravens.
They're going to go best available here, and they're going to go Walter Nolan. Which is totally not what they need, but they're going to go best available Walter Nolan. You're up 28 for the Lions.
Okay. Lions here in need of edge and offensive line. Let's go with Josh Simmons, Ohio State. Is he still available? Gone. Okay, that's terrible. So we're going to go Josh Connerly out of Oregon.
Okay. Love it.
Tackle.
Josh Connerly. Okay, Commanders up at 29. The best edge left is, I don't know that I have one who is not gone. Okay, this is not fun. I am going to go.
Is Jordan Birch available at Oregon edge, by the way? Could be one for you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go best available here. I'm going to go Kenneth Grant. Even though he's not an edge, Kenneth Grant is a beast. They just lost, what's his face? At defensive tackle on the inside. All right, Bills are up 30.
Bills need, I love defensive line more than I love anything else, but let's go here with, is Derek Harmon out of Oregon available?
He's available.
Let's go.
Yeah, love it. Okay. Harmon at 30. Everyone thinks the Chiefs are going to go O-line here. There is.
Because of Tooney, right? Yeah, I mean, this is a big one.
No, I'm going to go because their O-line's bad. I'm going to go Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU. We have our third tight end off the board, and they're drafting Travis Kelce's eventual replacement. Mason Taylor at 31.
Well, the Eagles here, and we have time, don't we? This is kind of amazing that we've done this.
You have 10 seconds left.
Calvin Banks is gone, right? The Eagles are going to take a lineman.
Seconds.
Kenneth Grant is gone. Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama.
You got it. Bam! And that is the perfect pick because they lost Mekhi Becton. You replace him with a big physical leader at right guard. That is a perfect pick that fell perfectly to you. Bam! We just did a 10-minute mock.
Has anyone done that? Would the NFL consider this?
10-minute and 40-second mock because we had the other two picks. We cheated. Okay. Some of these picks honestly don't make sense. Let's go through the top. So we got Cam Ward 1, Travis Hunter 2, Abdul Carter 3, Jahad Campbell at 4. No, you did Will Campbell at 4.
No, Campbell. I did Will Campbell.
At 4. Okay. All of that's chalk. I took Ashton Genty at 5. I got a gut. I could be wrong.
That's right. Stolen from the Raiders. I like it.
They want to run the football. I would not be surprised if that's Tyler Warren there as well, but I went Genty. You went McMillan at 5. I think that is way too rich. You're going McMillan. That works. Tyler Warren at 7. You took Jalen Walker at 8. Love it. I'm taking Shedeur at 9. Makes sense. You're taking Membu at 10. I'm good with that. I took Mason Graham at 11 simply because they need defense, and they lost Hargrave. They lost Malik Collins. No one thought that Mason Graham would be there at 11. They're thrilled that he is there. You take Matthew Golden at 12. I like that for the Cowboys. I took Shamar Stewart at 13. That's kind of where the draft took a turn here for us.
Yeah.
I don't know that one makes sense. I think Kenneth Grant could be that pick for the Dolphins there at 13, truly, or they could just go O-line. Or they could go wide receiver, depending on Tyreek. Sure. You took Banks at 14. I also think that's a tight end spot. We have the pass rushers at 15 and 16, Green and Pierce. Atlanta needs defense. They're going to take the best defensive player there. I mean, do they take Malachi Starks? Unlikely, but they can take any of the Georgia defenders there. Mike Green and James Pierce both have, put it this way, both might be off some teams' boards.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
There's some concerns with both. Okay. Then we got Jahad Campbell at 17. I joke Mike Brown's going to take the best defensive player available that he saw at 3:30 Eastern time on CBS, or ABC for that matter. He loves his big school players. That's just how they do it there. Donovan Ezerako to the Seahawks at 18. Interesting. John Schneider likes traits. He's got speed.
That was a player not need pick right there, for sure.
He's, I wouldn't also be surprised if they don't go a line there, if that's Nick Emanuwari from South Carolina. He just has all the traits. And same goes for Indy. Chris Ballard, John Schneider, love the traits. Okay. I go Jahdae Barron to the Bucs at 19. You go Marion Hampton to the Broncos at 20. That one makes sense. I'm going to go Jackson Dart to the Steelers. Loveland to the Chargers is no-brainer. Ibuka to the Packers. I don't think that's out of left field. I think a lot of people do think that this is finally the year they take a first-round wide receiver. Emeka Ibuka is as safe as it can be. All right, Emeka Ibuka is hitting a double up the gap. And that, it might even get over the fence in some parks, but you hit that ball. I mean, you had great exit velocity. That is a double.
And
that
somewhere
is a double, and you have a chance to score. You are not going to go wrong with Emeka Ibuka. He's as safe a pick as there is in this draft.
And somewhere on the beach, Aaron Rodgers is terribly upset that the Packers took a first-round wide receiver now.
My only concern on Will Johnson there, he's more of a zone corner. You're fit from Minnesota, but he's a good player. I also wouldn't be surprised there if they take Nick Emanuwari from South Carolina, because
he fell in our draft. Nick fell. Nick clearly has fallen in our draft.
Brian Flores, right? You give him to Brian Flores, he's going to be a piece. Houston, Simmons, like it. Michael Williams to the Rams. I don't know that that's a position they would generally take.
And again, they did so well at that position last year, right?
Sure.
I mean, but again, I think the outcome of the Super Bowl is going to change opinions for a lot of teams in this draft. Both what happened in the Super Bowl and what Howie Roseman admitted right afterwards, which would be that I just stockpile offensive and defensive linemen. I think that's going to change the way people think.
What's crazy is that it's the way a lot of teams think.
Andy Reid, and by the way, that's not how. I mean, Howie said it most recently, but Andy has always had that.
Sure. Absolutely. Recapping, then Nolan at 27. They could go corner here. I don't know that there's a corner. You know what? Wouldn't be surprised there. Instead of Nolan, I should have redone that. I could have had them take Max Hairston, the corner out of Kentucky.
Yeah, 20 seconds. This is not easy. 10-minute mock.
That is, if I had to redo it, I might go that there. Connerly to the Lions makes sense, although maybe flip Nolan down to 28. Kenneth Grant at the Commanders. I don't know that I feel good about that, but he's a first-round talent. Harmon to the Bills at 30. Look, any of these players here between 26 and 30, you could swap out for any other team. I had decided I was going to take Mason Taylor ahead of time with the Chiefs. I know that's going to surprise some people. I do think he goes in the first round. A lot of people think Elijah Arroyo goes ahead of him. I don't. Mason Taylor's younger and healthier, and he's got an uncle and a dad at the dinner table who have gold jackets. He's as clean a player as it gets in this draft next to Emeka Ibuka. And then Tyler Booker. The fact that the Eagles get Tyler Booker at 32 is a steal for them. There you have it, kids. We did a 10-minute mock.
Congratulations, Andrew. Nice idea.
I don't need congratulations.
Well, I was terrified. You suggested this yesterday, and I there was probably confidence in my voice at the time, but there was a part of me that really doubted this for many reasons, not necessarily for what we could do quickly, but for it actually that it feels okay. Unfortunately for Levi, I did not take Cam Scatterbo in the first round. I sort of promised him he loves him some Scatterbo. But he's not a first round. I mean, I know he's not.
He is not going to go in the first round.
No,
I do think we could have 3. Believe it or not.
You said three tight ends also, you said, right? You said
3 tight ends, 3 running backs.
We got 3 tight ends in, didn't we?
Yeah. We did get 3 tight ends, and I do think there's going to be a 3rd running back. I do think likely it's one of the Ohio State backs, and I think it's going to be Travion Henderson. Matter of fact, Travion Henderson is going to go a lot higher than people think. A lot higher. Because if you put on his pass pro tape, he is not just a good pass protector, he's a violent pass protector. And he's an electric home run hitter. Travion Henderson is going to go higher than you think.
One other thing that this has taught me, and this is not for you. You've been around a lot of mock drafts. I once on a radio show lined up 32 guests from 32 cities.
I'm part of those in the next couple of days.
Yes. That's difficult to put, just to put together and execute on air over the course of however many hours you have for a radio show. It's fun also. And I learned a lot that day when I lined up the 32 for a host named Bob France in San Francisco many years ago. But what I learned about this, which is akin to a fantasy draft in some ways for you and I doing this with all the paperwork and need and players off the big board, etc. I appreciate one thing more than I ever have. I think I'm just going to give him credit. Peter Schrager did what I saw was ever the first ever 7-round mock draft. I mean, every pick for every team. That, forget about a labor of love. I just can't imagine the homework that goes into something like that. And Schrager, that he painstakingly went into these things being realistic possibilities. That he spoke to people about the fact that could potentially happen. I've never been more impressed than just putting on paper that many picks for every team.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's also miserable.
Yeah, it is misery.
It's absolutely miserable.
Well done. Well done there.
So there we have it. Next week, friends, we'll figure out a time and a day and a week, and we'll get another show out to you before the draft. That is it. Go ahead and mock our mock. We want you to mock our mock. Please mock our mock because the entire thing is mock worthy. For Sam Betesh, my name is Andrew Siciliano. Thank you for listening and watching and subscribing and sharing and liking and commenting upon Thinking Out Loud. See ya.